Liverpool break club record. Fernandes called out. Isco wants to leave. A transfer roundup and today's Emoji Mondays all coming up in the next few minutes. As I'm your host, Mark Froelich, you are the OneFootballers, and this is the Daily News. First up, and Liverpool broke a club record last night of home games unbeaten as they extended it to 64 in a row. Believe it or not, the last person to win at Anfield, the last away manager, was Sam Allardyce with Crystal Palace quite a few years ago. Anyway, they set the record with a 3-0 victory over Leicester, and honestly, in the build-up to the game, it was touted as being a very difficult match for Liverpool because of all their injury worries. Their back four was rather makeshift, and Curtis Jones stepped into the midfield, and in all honesty, it looked just like a normal Liverpool match. They were dominant from start to finish. Leicester barely had any good chances on goal, and they could have had more goals if Roberto Firmino had decided to remember how to find the back of the net until his header a few minutes from time. Anyway, it means that Jurgen Klopp's side are now level at the top of the league, with Tottenham who had a brilliant 2-0 victory over Pep Guardiola's Manchester City on Saturday night. Jose up to his old tricks and definitely not past it. What it does mean for Manchester City though is that not since Mark Hughes have they had such a poor start to the season, and they just cannot find the back of the net. In regards to their games at Tottenham, well, that's 3 times they've now travelled to the new stadium in North London, and 3 times they've come away with a defeat, having not scored a single goal. And next up, talking Manchester City to their big rivals Manchester United, who won at the weekend with, yes, you guessed it, a Bruno Fernandes penalty. But that wasn't the controversy. The controversy was how he took the penalty, and Sam Johnstone, the West Bromwich Albion goalkeeper, saving it at the first attempt. He, after the game, said that the style of run-up that Bruno Fernandes has should be banned because goalkeepers can't come off their line. Now, for those of you who didn't see the game, Johnson took a step off his line, saved the penalty, and of course, that is not allowed. The penalty went back to the spot. Bruno Fernandes took it again, and this time he scored, and that proved the difference in the game, and that could have been a big point for West Brom. They're hard to come by this season for the Midland side, so this could have been a massive point, and in all honesty, I completely agree with him. Now, before you go, oh Matt, you're against Manchester United, this, that and the other, you guys know how ridiculous I think those penalties are. Like, it looked so stupid when Fernandes took it and missed it in the first time. If him, and it's not only him, Jorginho and whoever else take these stupid penalties where they stop and jump and hop and skip and all this load of crap, if players can do that, if they can put goalkeepers off, if they can stop, if they can slow down and do all that, why is a goalkeeper not allowed to take 1 step off his line or 2 steps? Who cares? Surely if a goalkeeper takes a few steps and then commits, they're in an even worse position than they would be if they stayed on their line, because they've got less time to react to where the penalty is going. Like, yeah, they're closing the angle down somewhat, but that wouldn't really matter if a striker just run up and hit the ball anyway. If a striker can do what they like when they run up, then I think a goalkeeper should be able to do what they like within reason. For me, I think they should be able to move anywhere within the 6-yard box. If that happens, and that's the rule, first off, there's no retaking of penalties, especially as it's only retaken when they miss. And secondly, it just means that we don't have this argument every week. I think you'll find if the rule was changed that a goalkeeper would still take 1 or 2 steps off their line and penalties would go on as normal. Moving on then to some transfer news from Real Madrid, where Isco looks set to leave the club. Apparently, at the beginning of the season, he knew things were going to be difficult. He knew that Marco Asensio was back from injury, that Martin Odegaard had been recalled a year early from his loan at Real Sociedad, and that there will be a fight for the starting places. After a few months, though, it's clear that he's not as Zinedine Zidane's plan, so he wants to leave the club. He really should have taken out what James Rodriguez did. It was clear that James wasn't going to be in the squad, and certainly wasn't going to be in the first team for a prolonged period of time and in the club's future plans, so he should have just cut his losses and left. Having said that, moving directly to Everton as well may also not be the best of ideas. Carlo Ancelotti has rubbished these rumours as, well, he's already got James. They've got a load of attacking options that are doing really well for them, so they don't need to go ahead and sign Isco. Isco's only 28 years old. He's not exactly old. He's worth 30 million, which is a pretty good deal for the quality player he is, and I have no doubt he'll have a load of suitors who will want to take him on. His wages are quite high, but not in the realm of being ridiculous for a top-level side. As for Real Madrid, like we mentioned before, they've still got so many options that I'm not really sure they're going to miss him. Next up then, in a quick roundup of the rest of the day's transfer news, where Beppe Morata, Inter Milan's chief executive, has said that Christian Eriksen can leave the club in January. Yusuf Yasic's agent has said that the Lille midfielder is a target for Arsenal, who has been likened to Mesut Ozil. I mean, they've got him doing absolutely nothing, so they might as well bring someone in who's actually going to appear on the pitch. Elsewhere, Ronald Koeman may have to rethink his defensive strategy in the January transfer market, as Gerard Piqué and Sergio Roberto picked up long-term injuries in their defeat to Atletico at the weekend. And lastly but not least, Rudi Völler has suggested that Jurgen Klopp should be taking the German job sooner rather than later. Okay, let's take a quick look at your Friday feels. This is where you guys left your Football League predictions in the daily news comment section on Friday. First up, Tom correctly guessed that Atletico would beat Barcelona 1-0. Anu Oyalade guessed that Manchester City would lose to Spurs, which was a 2-0 victory for Jose Mourinho's side. And lastly but not least, Han Solo, an excellent name, guessed that Ajax would be 5-0 winners against Almelo in the Eredivisie. Lastly then, we come to Emoji Mondays. This is where we on football throw a couple of emojis down over some of the weekend's hottest action. And first up, best player goes to Erling Haaland. A load of you are always commenting saying, Matt, what about this player? What about this player? Just let me know in the comment section who you think should be winning the best player and why. And if any of them scored 4 over the weekend and won the Golden Boy Award, I'd love to hear it. Erling Haaland did exactly that with 4 goals against Hertha. He is by definition the best player of the weekend. A stunning performance, and yeah, he did win that Golden Boy Award. The worst player for me, Nicola Pepe. What was he doing? For those of you who didn't watch the Arsenal Leeds game, he decided to headbutt Alioski after getting annoyed that the Leeds midfielder was winding him up. Yes, Alioski did go down and did make the most of the contact, but even so from Pepe, you just cannot do that. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Do not give the referee a decision to make. Don't even allow him to go over to the monitor and think, oh, that might be a red card. Don't even put the thought in his head by doing something so stupid. Having said that, it wasn't even that incident. The rest of the game, he was absolutely useless, did nothing. This was his chance to shine, and Pepe had a terrible, terrible game. He has a lot of apologising to do in the Arsenal dressing room. And finally, the result of the weekend goes to AC Milan with a 3-1 victory to keep them at the top of the table against Napoli, who were sitting in 3rd place. Along with this, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, at the age of 39, scored another 2 goals to make it 10 in his first 8 Serie A games this season. That has not been done since 1943, where the record holder was just 29 years old. He smashed that record by about 10 years, and there is no stopping him. Well, there is a little bit of stopping him as he came off with a hamstring injury, but besides from that, the guy is on fire. That's all from me though. Let me know your thoughts below. Check out the rest of the stuff by clicking here, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.